Hello and welcome to another video about Cardano. Before we start, yes, I have switched the dark mode on again. I forgot it in the last video, but anyway, I think it's nicer for the eyes anyway. Most people tend to like it. I start to like it too, and in the end, most of you guys like it, which is why we are doing it. Next thing, a real roller coaster ride. I mean, for all of you who are watching my videos and who are liking the videos, commenting, thanks a lot for that. I'm really overwhelmed by all the likes and all the comments, and please continue to do so. This is just amazing. It helps the channel immensely. I mean, we've grown like in a week by 2,000 subscribers or so. It's just crazy, and thanks again. It just shows that you guys love the content, and certainly I will continue. This is all done mainly for the Cardano community, but at times we're also looking at different cryptocurrencies. But today in this video again, we're going to take a look at Cardano, a huge roller coaster ride, as I said, for everybody who's following this channel, who's watching the videos, and you're staying close to the price action, and it really feels like a huge roller coaster ride at the moment. And we're also taking a look at Bitcoin first, as always, because the Bitcoin price is really leading the way in the crypto markets at the moment. That might change in the future, but you know how it is at the moment. So we're taking a look at the Bitcoin chart first. Don't be shocked. We are here back in 2017, 2018. I just want to show you the 2017 September values back in the time, and people oftentimes tend to look back at price action and seem to be able to or make suggestions of what could happen next based on historical price moves. And I've read a few articles actually about technical analysis and people suggesting that potentially it could look like in September, because historically in September apparently these prices tend to sell off. And let's just take a look at what happened before in the last bull market, end of 2017. Basically the whoops, that was the wrong one, but basically the Bitcoin price, it dropped. You can clearly see that from exactly the 1st of September, quite funny actually, down to it dropped 34%, which is quite a lot in just a couple of weeks. Now it claimed that back to some degree, but it still closed as a sort of a negative month. So it sort of closed at around let's have a look. Where's the 1st of October? Pretty much here. So it pretty much closed at like 10%, 11% to the downside. So that is quite interesting. Just want to show you that because I read a few articles. Wasn't me who came up with that, but it could be possible. It could be possible that the September will be a bit of a weaker month. And why? Well, we've been talking about a potential lose in momentum of the Bitcoin price now for a moment. And to be honest, we have obviously today dropped quite a bit. People were shocked again. And now we've claimed some of that back. This is the daily chart. I think we can see it better on the 4-hour chart. But before we start, for everybody who's new on the channel, we've been following this ascending wedge for a while. This ascending wedge is a generally historically a bearish pattern in which the price moves. So this is a formation that has basically developed on the Bitcoin chart since the beginning of this recent uptrend in July. And what we can see is this yellow ascending wedge, generally a bearish pattern because the price gets squeezed and squeezed more and more, and it tends to, because this top line is less steep than the lower line, the highs are getting lower and lower. And what we can observe now on the Bitcoin chart is really that we haven't even managed to touch this top side again. I really want us to see that. And if we don't see that, there is an increased risk that Bitcoin is losing momentum and we start to roll over. And the market could start to roll over a little bit like that. We don't want that, but that is what historically has happened and what generally happens if a market is struggling to make new highs. And bear in mind, we are not struggling at the moment to make new highs, but the highs are getting less high, if that makes sense. So we're still getting higher highs, but the distance between these highs is getting smaller and smaller. And we can clearly see that from like the first highs that we made here, really huge. Another really, the distance is quite high. We made actually from, between 42, we made it from 42 up to 46. And then we only made it from 46 to 48. And now we've made it only from 48 to 49 pretty much. So, it is just something to be aware of. What we can see here on the daily chart is that we've recently made actually a bullish move. We have one of the lower, one of the 20-day moving averages crossing over the 200-day moving average, which is a very bullish move. We haven't seen that for the 50 yet. That is still down here. And however, the momentum indicator here, which I like to use together with taking a look at some of the candlesticks and everything, is the RSI. And the RSI just shows that we are not going up anymore. The momentum isn't going up. The momentum is staying where it is. Pretty much it even goes down a little. If we draw a line here, we can see that the momentum is slowing down. And that together with what we can see here, it just shows that the market is slowing down a little bit, which it feels like as well. I mean, we've been now here trading. It feels like we've been trading around this area now for a long time. Just below 50, just can't get through there. And we certainly don't have the momentum anymore that we had here in the beginning. And this is what we need to observe. And one thing that makes me, that clearly shows that as well, is that here at the top now of the most recent high that we made just 2 days ago, you can clearly see on the daily chart here, you can see really the recent top, that the top wick is really long, or the top shadow of the candle. So that means the price was already here, but at this top over 50k, the seller stepped in and they brought the price down. And then after that, we had a bearish candle, really an engulfing bearish pattern, and that brought the price down. We've since hit that support level. And we've been following this ascending wedge now for a while, and actually the support level has really played out as predicted. So at the moment we're here. Obviously we need to wait how the day closes, but I just want to again remind you of this potential risk that the Bitcoin price is losing momentum. We will stay close to that, but what we don't want to see is something like this dropping off now. This dropping off here now. Oh my gosh, brush. And then making something like that. So something like not a higher high. That would be probably the worst thing that could happen. The same high, or another move to the upside, and we can only get to like 50,500 or so as we did before. And that could then really lead us out of this ascending wedge. And then we could really see us fall down to maybe 42k, which is pretty much the level of this 50-day moving average. This is one possible scenario. I just want to prepare you for that. It doesn't mean that it's the end of the bull market. September, as we saw in 2017 before the last all-time high, before this bull market, we had a 30% drop. So if we see that, guys, have diamond hands. I mean, I can't really make any recommendations here. I don't want to give any financial advice, but I will have my diamond hands. I will hold my crypto. I will hodl. And however, before we get into that further, let's just take a look at Cardano. I don't want to bore you with any Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Cardano. How is Cardano doing? We're now back at 276 now, which actually is quite interesting because we were already again today down here at this low of 250 or 260 actually. So this is pretty much a support level that we can now actually put onto this chart, because this provided support today. It provided support yesterday. I mean, it's close enough to the 256 level that we've got already on here, but maybe we need to add that in the future as well. But it's close enough anyway. What we can see here, that obviously we dropped out of this formation because on this is only the 1 hour chart, but what we can see here as well, that we've got this trend line here that we put onto the chart yesterday or a couple of days ago actually, and we can see that we had a few touches here, 1, 2, and 3. And what we can see now, however, that happened what we expected this morning. What I said on this channel, we were trading in this triangle pattern between this red uptrending trend line and this trend line which was coming down from here. Yeah, we put that onto the chart this morning, and I said there would be a breakout today, and I also gave you a time period, and it actually happened. We saw the breakout, and it was, however, unfortunately to the downside, also probably fueled by Bitcoin, which went down here. No, did it go down today? Let's take a quick look at the 1 hour chart of Bitcoin. But yeah, most likely it was, by this downward move here. So that had an effect on ADA, and we're now climbing up again. What we can see here, however, again, is that we're losing a bit of momentum. One huge candle, very engulfing bullish candle, nice move to the upside, but Then we've managed to get inside or up above the 20-day moving average on the hourly chart. Very nice. But now we can see again red candles. The green candles are getting smaller. It's losing momentum again a little bit. So it's a bit not very decisive at the moment what is going on here on the Cardano chart. And let's take a look at the 4-hour chart, what we can make out here. Again, we just need to see how this plays out. It looks like a bit like a channel here at the moment, but it's really hard to say. On the 4-hour chart, luckily this upward move, it brought us back to the into like the bullish territory here. And again, we are still in an uptrend here, so I wouldn't worry too much. However, what we need to bear in mind here is Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin, the more this is, Bitcoin is starting to roll over potentially, the more it will potentially have a negative impact on Cardano. So that is something to be aware of. Also, what we need to pay close attention to is up here. You can see it up here where we've got this trend line here going up, and we are now obviously below this trend line. So for the first time since the 17th of August, we've actually broken out of this trend line. That is only, a week ago, but that trend has really helped us, quite a steep trend. So what we can actually see here on the daily, we basically had this not very steep trend line, within July and August, but definitely an upward trend. Then we had this slightly steeper trend in the, let's say, the first half of August. And then we have this even steeper trend at the moment. So for me, this is like a very, very uptrending market at the moment, Cardano. So we can really see the momentum with this crypto. But what we can see now, that we now tend to potentially will break out to the downside of this trend. Yeah. So what we could see potentially is again we are at all-time highs, so that we start to lose momentum a little bit. But I don't want to say that too early because the daily candle hasn't closed yet. So if we can close like above like 285 or something, we might be actually still above this trend line, which would be a really good sign. But generally on the daily chart here, we are still in overbought territory, so really bullish. Can't really talk about any losing momentum here at the moment. It feels a bit like that because this is always what happens. We saw an all-time high, then it drops a little bit. So I just want to put your minds at ease here. Look at the RSI here, it's just going up. And if you see that together with all moving averages going up, it's actually all fine. It's all fine. These are just temporary corrections at the moment on the Cardano chart. And if we continue like that, and hopefully we can sort of close above this trend line here, then we could get to the $3 fairly soon. And anything is possible in the crypto market. I mean, it feels like a sort of bad day today, even though we've made a gain today. But we saw the drop, people were shocked again. And however, bear in mind, these are only minor corrections and we are still in an uptrend. I would tell you if I would think otherwise, but we can see RSI is all bullish. All moving averages are going up, and on the weekly it was even more bullish because here we've recently made a bullish cross on the MACD, which I don't have here anymore at the moment on the chart, but a bullish cross on the MACD on the weekly. However, on the weekly as well, what we can see is the losing momentum slightly. We had a huge pump here in that week, slightly smaller pump in that week, and in the current week, we were already up here, but even that was a smaller pump than in the previous weeks. It's just something to be aware of. Whereas take a look in April, we had a small candle here, a bigger candle here, and a huge candle here. I mean, it overshot a bit up to here and then went down, but we have something different here where we're now starting to lose momentum, very similar like Bitcoin. But it's still looking very bullish in terms of moving averages and in terms of the RSI. But it's just something we need to pay attention to. What I always want to pay attention to is really the price action and if any deceleration happens, if we see that slowing down of the price action, for me, that's always a sign that we need to stay on the side of caution. So I just want to come to you with that message. I think we will still see like the $4.5 to $5 this year and maybe even higher because I believe we are in a bull market. But that does not mean that we couldn't drop like 30% in September as we did with Bitcoin in the year 2017. So I hope that message came across. I hope you liked that video. Please always like and subscribe. I hope, that was great content, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.